Now, the story goes like that. Many years ago, like over 100, 200 years ago, a lot of good martial arts practitioners, they did the training in the Shaolin monastery. Okay, and then at that time, they got very good respect from the administration. Gradually, the administration did not get so popular with the people, and they got weaker, and they got weaker, and then they voices that the administration was not good anymore. So this was back in the Chun dynasty. So eventually, the governments, they decided that the Shaolin practitioners in martial arts had to do a lot with the revolutions, because back at that time, firearms were not so popular. So when there was a warfare, they had to fight with bare hands, with weaponries. Okay? So eventually, the government authorities decided to arrest certain people, very important figures in the Shaolin temple or the Shaolin monastery. And then they fell apart, and some of the famous elders had to leave the place and try to get shelter elsewhere. At that time, the story goes like that. There were 5 elders. The first one was Chun, the big monk, or Chun Sim-si, and then Mui, and then Phong Do Tak, and then Miu Hin, and then Pak Mei. Okay? But this is over 200 years ago. It may not be the entire truth, but then I would say that Chun actually existed, and Miu Hin also existed. Now, Miu Hin, as far as I know, and the story was like he went to Vietnam, and then so that's why you find also some Wing Chun lineage now in Vietnam these days. And Chun, he went to southern part of China, and then he found work in a red boat. At that time, the red boats were big boats whereby they carried the opera people to travel from city to city to perform the opera or stage arts. Okay? But he disguised himself as a cook, and then not so many people knew that he was good in martial arts. Until eventually, he had a few fights on some incidents, and then his skills became known, and then he accepted a few students. So there was a saying that while in the Shaolin monastery, there was a lot of training apparatus, a lot of space. So the styles they practiced were different styles to suit different builds of different people. And then the movements, some of them were wider, more agile footwork because of the space allowed. But then with the boat, you have limited space. And so it was said that Chun Sim-si, he designed something like a wooden dummy. And then he started to design a few forms to teach his students. So those forms, some of them could be rather tight and narrow movements. Especially with the wooden dummy, you don't find very wide movements because, first of all, the technique was allowing them to do that. And then space-wise, it was more practical. So he accepted a few students. And then after that, over the years, they went to different places and taught different students. So they descended the skills to various people and became various lineages of Wing Chun or Shaolin Wing Chun or Pao Fa Lin Wing Chun or Guangzhou Wing Chun, whatever. Okay? So Miu Hin Wing Chun is something that we can find these days on the internet, that they do it in Vietnam. But there is another lineage called the Red Flower Wing Chun, and I know that there are a few masters who are also teaching them also in the States. Okay? And as far as Mui Wing Chun is concerned, many years ago I had some newspaper clipping and offered from my Sisok, Michael Tang. And then there was a saying that we were actually the same lineage. So when people from the Yip Man lineage claim that they got the source from Mui, we say it differently. We say that we got our skills and the knowledge from Chun. But in actual fact, most of the movements are quite similar. But in that, I have to add something. With our particular style of Wing Chun, and especially from Grandmaster Chu Chong Man, he used to teach students, especially younger students, with a series called the Floral Fist series, which is for more wider movements. The idea is to train up the practitioners to a better physical condition, opening up the joints of the shoulders, the hips, and more agile leg work.
But this was created later, or it was created by Chun?
Well, I think in many ways it all came from Chun and also from Shaolin. Okay, but then
Because the tradition of the Taoists, right? From Shaolin.
right. Yeah. Okay, so
As a continuum, it wasn't created later.
no. It came back.
Which comes from Shaolin.
Yeah, it traced back like over 100, 200 years ago, as I said. So over all the years, different lineages, most of them, they have something in common. Like even for Yip Man lineage, they have Xiu Lim Tao, little ideas, Chum Kyu, Biu Ji. But with other lineages, they also have the three forms, but they have something else more. Like in Pao Fa Lin Wing Chun, they also have the three forms, but they also have other forms like Pin San, like Sab Ji, like Bin Chui, which I also learned a few from another master. Okay, so I would say that in principle they are very much similar to each other, only that there must be variations because it has been over 100, 200 years. So different teachers, they teach a little bit different, but then we can all say that it came from the same source.